Listen closely, my friend, for what I'm about to share has the power to change the course of your life. We live in a world that's constantly screaming for our attention, so much noise, so many words. But let me tell you, silence, true silence, is a rare and powerful gift. It holds a wisdom that few understand and fewer still choose to embrace. And in this fast-paced world, where everyone seems to have an opinion, an agenda, or a need to be heard, it can be a hard lesson to learn. But let me tell you this: saying less can often mean living more. In my many years, I've learned that the less you say, the more you actually hear. And when you hear more, you understand better. It's as though the world starts to speak to you in a language that only silence can teach. You may wonder, how does saying less change anything? But trust me, it does. It opens doors. It builds respect. It creates space for real connection. And most importantly, it brings peace. Now I know you're probably thinking, but how can silence help me in a world that demands action and words? Well, my friend, silence isn't about doing nothing. It's not about withdrawing from life. It's about choosing your moments carefully, about saying what truly matters and letting the rest go. You see, the more you speak, the less people listen. And when you speak, do so with purpose, for silence can be far more impactful than any words. Think back to a moment in your life when someone spoke very little, yet their presence was so strong, their impact so deep. Perhaps it was a wise mentor, a trusted friend, or even a family member. These people didn't need to fill every moment with chatter. They understood something many of us miss: the power of silence. Take, for example, my dear friend Thomas. Thomas was a man of few words, but when he spoke, every word carried weight. People respected him because he didn't waste his breath. When others blabbered on, he sat quietly, listening, absorbing, and contemplating. And when he did speak, you listened. You paid attention because you knew his words would count. That's the power of silence. It commands respect. So, how do we bring this into our everyday lives? First, you must learn to appreciate silence. In the hustle and bustle of your day-to-day activities, find moments to pause. Don't fill every second with noise. Give yourself the gift of quiet. Whether you're on a walk, at your desk, or even sitting with loved ones, embrace the stillness. Use that time to reflect, to listen, and to think. It's in these quiet moments that we often find our greatest clarity. Now, I'm not saying that you should become a hermit or stop talking altogether. There's a time for conversation, for sharing, for connecting. But my friend, there's also a time to be still and let your actions speak louder than your words. You see, when you choose silence wisely, your words carry more impact. You become someone who speaks with intention, with purpose, and with the power of experience behind every syllable. Have you ever been in a conversation where the other person was talking non-stop? It's exhausting, isn't it? The constant stream of words, often without any real meaning or thought. You find yourself nodding along, but not truly engaging, because the words feel empty. But when someone speaks with purpose, when they take the time to pause, reflect, and then share something meaningful, you stop and listen. You hear their words, not just because they're saying something, but because they've chosen to speak only when it matters. This is the essence of Stoic philosophy: acting with intention, speaking with purpose, and living with mindfulness. Stoics like Epictetus and Seneca understood that silence was not a weakness, but a strength. It was a tool they used to build their inner peace, to cultivate wisdom, and to guide their actions in the world. Let me share a little more about the Stoic approach to silence. Epictetus taught that we should be mindful of our words because they reflect our inner thoughts and beliefs. When we speak without thinking, we reveal our anxieties, our fears, and our insecurities. But when we speak thoughtfully, With intention, we show the world our true character, calm, collected, and in control of our emotions. This is what gives us power. In your daily life, try to implement this principle. When you're in a meeting or at a social gathering, practice listening more than you speak. Pay attention to the emotions and intentions behind the words of others. Respond with thoughtfulness, not haste, and watch how the dynamics of the conversation shift. People will start to notice. They'll respect your silence because they'll see that it's not empty, it's full of purpose. And this, my friend, is where the magic happens. As you embrace silence, you create space for others to be heard. You open doors for deeper connection, for more meaningful interactions. You allow room for people to share their thoughts, their feelings, and their ideas without fear of being interrupted. And in return, you'll find that your own relationships become more genuine, more fulfilling. But let's not stop there. There's another powerful aspect of silence, that we often overlook the power it has in our internal world. We're constantly bombarded with external noise, social media, news, the opinions of others. This noise can make it difficult to hear our own thoughts, to connect with our true selves. But in silence, we find clarity. We reconnect with our inner wisdom. We remember who we are, what we stand for, and what truly matters to us. Now, I want you to think about this for a moment. When was the last time you spent time in silence, without distractions, without interruptions? When was the last time you sat alone with your thoughts, allowed your mind to wander, and simply listened to what was going on inside? If it's been a while, I encourage you to make this a regular practice. Set aside time each day to be still, to reflect, and to simply be present. It doesn't have to be long, just a few minutes can make all the difference. I've seen many people transform their lives by embracing the power of silence. They find peace in the quiet, strength in the stillness, and wisdom in the moments of pause. And you can too. Silence will not only help you become more mindful in your interactions with others, but it will also help you become more mindful of your own thoughts, your own desires, and your own actions. Now, let's take a deeper look at the benefits silence brings, especially in a world that's always demanding more from us. You see, when you embrace silence, you cultivate an inner peace that most people only dream of. Silence allows you to escape the noise of the world, the constant demands, the overwhelming flood of information, and instead, it gives you space to breathe, to think, and to regain control over your thoughts and emotions. This isn't just a passive act, it's a powerful form of self-care. In my younger days, I was often caught up in the rush, trying to keep up with the expectations of others, drowning in the noise of everyday life. I thought I needed to be constantly busy, always talking, always engaging. But as I grew older, I realized something crucial: peace doesn't come from constant activity or noise. It comes from the quiet moments where you reconnect with yourself, where you pause and reflect. Take a moment to think about the times when you've been overwhelmed or stressed out. Chances are, in those moments, you were bombarded by noise. Maybe it was the constant ping of notifications or the endless chatter around you. But imagine what would have happened if, instead of reacting to all that noise, you had stepped back, found a quiet space, and allowed yourself to think, to breathe, to process. Wouldn't that have made a difference? That's the power of silence. It gives you the ability to reset, to restore your calm, and to regain perspective. When you're constantly talking, constantly doing, you become like a vessel that's always full, with no room to take in new insights, new ideas, or even new solutions. But in silence, you empty that vessel, creating room for new thoughts, new experiences, and a deeper understanding of the world around you. Silence also helps you to build emotional resilience. In life, we face challenges, whether it's a difficult conversation, a challenging situation at work, or a personal hardship. In these moments, it's easy to be swept away by our emotions, to speak hastily, or to react impulsively. But silence offers a powerful pause. It's in that pause, when we choose not to speak or react, that we find our true strength. Think of the last time you were angry or frustrated. Did your words help the situation, or did they make it worse? The truth is, when we speak from a place of emotion, whether it's anger, fear, or frustration, our words often do more harm than good. They can damage relationships, fuel conflict, and create misunderstandings. But silence, my friend, offers a way out. When you stay silent in the face of emotion, you give yourself the time to calm down, to think more clearly, and to respond with wisdom rather than reaction. Let me tell you a story from my own life. There was a time when I was deeply upset with a colleague. We disagreed, and I felt that my point of view wasn't being respected. I was ready to speak up, to defend myself, to let my anger out, but something in me told me to stop. I chose silence. Instead of reacting in the heat of the moment, I took a step back, took a deep breath, and allowed myself time to cool off. The next day, when I spoke to my colleague, I was calm, collected, and thoughtful. Not only did our conversation go smoothly, but we also reached a deeper understanding of each other. Had I spoken in anger, I'm sure the conversation would have gone in a completely different direction. But because I embraced silence and took the time to reflect, the outcome was much more positive. That's the power of silence. It allows you to respond, not react. It gives you the clarity to approach even the most challenging situations with wisdom and composure. Another profound benefit of silence is its ability to improve your listening skills. In a world where everyone wants to be heard, the art of listening has become a lost skill. But listening is one of the most powerful tools we have for building meaningful relationships, understanding others, and resolving conflicts. When you listen, truly listen, without interrupting or formulating your response while the other person is speaking, you show them respect. You show them that their words matter. And when people feel heard, they are more likely to listen to you in return. It's a simple yet effective way to build trust, to foster understanding, and to create deeper connections with those around you. There's a quote I once heard, and it stayed with me all these years. The quieter you become, the more you can hear. It's so simple yet so profound. When we talk too much, we don't just drown out the noise, we drown out the wisdom, the insights, and the truths that lie beneath the surface. But when we embrace silence, we open ourselves up to the deeper layers of communication. I'll share another story with you. A few years ago, I was attending a meeting with a group of colleagues. The conversation was lively, and everyone was eager to share their opinions. I remained quiet for most of the discussion, listening intently, observing, and reflecting. As the meeting went on, I realized that there were deeper concerns that hadn't been addressed, issues that were only hinted at between the lines. At the end of the meeting, I asked a few carefully chosen questions that brought these concerns to light. My colleagues were surprised because no one else had noticed these issues. The silence I practiced during the meeting gave me the space to listen, to process, and to see what others were missing. That's the power of silence. It allows you to hear the things that aren't being said. Now, let me bring this all together. The power of silence isn't about avoiding conflict, staying passive, or being aloof. It's about choosing when to speak and when to remain quiet. It's about knowing that sometimes saying less is more. Silence is a tool that helps us build stronger relationships, gain clarity, and navigate life with greater wisdom. So, the next time you're caught in a situation where you feel the urge to speak, take a moment to pause, breathe, listen, think, and then, if you choose to speak, do so with intention, with purpose, and with the power of silence behind your words. Remember, silence is not an absence of speech, it is a presence of thought, reflection, and wisdom. It is the art of saying less, but communicating more. It is the way of the Stoics, who knew that true strength lies not in the number of words you speak, but in the clarity and purpose of those words. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to The Modern Stoic. Share your thoughts on how silence has impacted your life and how you plan to incorporate more moments of stillness into your daily routine. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes the quietest voices have the most profound things to say.